What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Tactic Talk. In today's episode, we're going to discuss all things Liverpool, who took another step towards winning their first ever Premier League crown by drawing 0-0 with Everton in the Premier League last night. But why has it taken the Reds so long to win their first ever Premier League trophy? Well, it's time to find out.
To understand Liverpool's present, we need to look at the club's past. Liverpool is a club steeped in history and tradition and were unstoppable during the 1970s and the 1980s. They were easily the most consistent team in England and Europe, and there was a fear factor about Anfield that had visiting sides trembling before they even set foot in the iconic stadium. Unfortunately, those days have gone, and the fear factor about the Reds disappeared for as long as 30 years. Only now is it starting to come back. Liverpool's downfall seems to coincide with the rise of their historic rivals, Manchester United. United appointed Sir Alex Ferguson at the helm in 1986, and the Scotsman set about fixing the dressing room and building his team for the future. Liverpool, on the other hand, failed to build on their aging squad, and by the time the Premier League era began in 1992, was still far behind in terms of pure footballing quality, despite still having some recognizable faces. This failure to adapt to the changing times and a new style of football hurt the Reds in a big way. Stability often breeds performance, and this is certainly true about clubs that have a history of not sacking their managers. Liverpool were forced to change their theory in order to improve their fortunes, but one can argue that it did more harm than good. With every new manager comes a new philosophy and new players to come along with it. This constant chopping and changing of bosses didn't help the Liverpool cause, and they were often left needing a bit more to lift the Premier League trophy. Liverpool have produced some terrific players over the years, but only a handful ended up staying with the Reds in the long term. Keeping aside club legends such as Jamie Carragher and Steven Gerrard, several other top players who were at their prime at Liverpool decided to move on in search of greener pastures. The reason for this may very well be the lack of ambition, but also poor player management that certainly hurt the English Giants and their hopes of lifting the league title. Liverpool are a big club in every sense of the word. Why is it then that Liverpool don't quite compete for all the best players in the world? Through the 90s and the 2000s, poor recruitment haunted the Reds, and they often missed out on deals to sign top players. This may very well be due to the club's owners not quite being able to agree with the manager's philosophy and hence not providing funds for the same. But the fact is that the club's fans suffered the most. Season by season, Liverpool fans had to see their arch rivals sign superstars while the Reds silently moved on with what they had, and what they had was far from good enough.